Aloha, everyone. Hope you are all doing absolutely amazing and having a wonderful week here. This is going to be our new thing. We're going to be doing a Facebook Live every week, and it's going to be so good. Going to be doing a Facebook Live every single week just to be able to connect with you guys, to answer questions that you have, to really just help to keep the teachings going, to help keep information, content, all of that fun stuff going. And you know, we just got done beginning our year, and it was such an amazing event. We were in Tampa, had a great group there. Nicole was there teaching, and then we just did Austin, and Valen was there with me as my co-trainer. Mandy, she was heading the virtual. We also ran a virtual prac. We're gonna be doing virtual pracs at least a couple times a year now. I think we have another one scheduled a little bit later on this year, and then one towards the end of the year. So those of you who are not able to make it to one of our live events, you have that option now. You have that option of being at the virtual event. So I wanted to spend some time today, maybe like 10, 15 minutes or so. That's what I'm gonna be doing every week, just kind of taking some concepts and some ideas and going a little bit deeper with it, going a little bit deeper with the information so that you are able to assimilate it and really incorporate it in your life. So one of the things, if you've done any trainings with me, you know that a big focus of what we do in the trainings is forgiveness. And forgiveness is so important. Forgiveness is a cornerstone of being able to look at the world in a much happier view, in a more pleasant view. You have two different types of forgiveness. You have forgiveness of something that occurred, and doctors call that episodic forgiveness. And then you have what's called trait forgiveness, and that's just basically being a more forgiving person, a more forgiving individual. And forgiveness is so critical. And what people don't understand is that forgiveness is a two-way street. It's not just one way, right? Western culture, Western thinking is that it's one way. So what I studied to become a doctor, as many of you know, is Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian forgiveness process. Validated in my research that it actually works. It reduces this feeling of you want to get someone back or you have a grudge against them. And it's an incredible process. People still sometimes go into it though with the Western mindset. They go into it with the thinking of how Westerners think, which is, I'm sorry, right? The words, I'm sorry, end right about here. And quite often the response is, oh no, you will be, or not sorry enough, We've all done that. I have as well. There are other videos out there where I delve more into forgiveness. What I want to talk about right now is I want to talk about why it's a two-way street. Like I've had some people go, my clients, I had a client one time say to me, why do I have to ask my partner for forgiveness? She's the one that started it. She's the one that escalated it. She is responsible for the fight. She's responsible for the fight. That's what I heard. And I'm like, okay, a fight involves two people. You can't have a solo and have a fight. And I said to him, I said, you have kids, I have kids. Have you ever had your kid throwing a tantrum or having a meltdown and you just had no energy in it, other than holding space, other than being empathetic? You don't have any energy in it. And it's like you're looking at them and you're thinking, God, I love you. I hope that I can just hold this space for you and, really make sure that I help guide you through it. I remember when my son Ethan threw his first temper tantrum, right? He's 22 now, so it hasn't happened for a while. And I think he was about 3, maybe 2 or 3. And man, he threw this temper tantrum, just losing it. And I'm watching him and I got nothing. No pushback, no energy in it, just standing there going, wow, this is interesting. This is his first temper tantrum. How absolutely cool. I stood there, there's nothing in it. There's no push. I said to my client, if you're in a fight, then that implies that you at the very least pushed a little bit, that you pushed in some way, shape or form, even just a little bit, you gave a push. And here's the problem with that. If you were zero energy, it wouldn't have been a fight. You would have just been able to stand there and be like, how can I help you? How can I hold space for you as you go through this? What do you need from me right now? I said to my client, even if your partner is 90% responsible, if they're 90% responsible for the fight, you still have 10% in there. So forgiveness is a two-way street, because if they went to go push and they pushed hard and you had any resistance, that means that you need to ask for forgiveness as well. I said, it doesn't take a lot of courage to ask for forgiveness when you're the one at fault. It's natural. You want to say, I'm sorry. You want to say, please forgive me. The person that blew up at 90%, that one's easy. That one's easy because you know you're wrong. Your tail's between your legs and you're like, man, this one is on me. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. It's the person who contributed 10% that's a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit more difficult for them because they're able to sit there and go, it wasn't me. I didn't start it. I didn't escalate it. And I just got pissed off at the end and was like, to hell with you too. And here's the thing that I got my client to realize, that if they truly had zero, then yeah, maybe it would just be a one-sided forgiveness. Even in that moment though, I would say, please forgive me as well for anything that I contributed to the beginning of that. It takes courage to be that one who's 10%. The one who's 10% where you can point a finger so easily at the other person. And yet from the Hawaiian culture, it was required to get forgiveness in both directions. You needed to get forgiveness in both directions because it's a do-with process, right? Ancient languages like Hawaiian, they were based on energy. And so when you say, I forgive you, please forgive me too, that creates the connection. And that's the power of forgiveness. The power of forgiveness is in the sincerity behind you asking for that forgiveness and giving it. The more sincere you are and the more you are willing to just sit there and go, I'm at least a little bit responsible, so please forgive me too. And acknowledging it, that can begin to heal up, and that can begin to kind of like bridge the gap between you and that other person to overcome whatever it is that you have. I feel very fortunate. I have such an amazing team. We have such an amazing company. We're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year, and 40 years of doing this stuff. Founded by my dad back in '82. And this month, February, the team helped to get one of my articles on the cover of Psychology Today. And it's about forgiveness. It's about forgiveness, and it talks about, self-forgiveness and how you gotta sometimes forgive you. I know many of you have asked me at the live events, how can I do ho'oponopono with myself? Please remember that when you're doing ho'oponopono, when you're doing the forgiveness process, when you say to that person in your mind, please forgive me too, that is self-forgiveness. You are asking for forgiveness in this direction, and we gain forgiveness through our connection with others. On our app, if you download our app on iPhone, Android, whatever device you have, on your iPad, there's a recording. There's a recording of a 7-minute version of ho'oponopono, so you can experience that. And when you do it, make sure that you say, I forgive you, please forgive me, and get that in both directions. All right. Well, I hope this was a helpful tip. I'm just planning on doing these 10 to 15 minute Facebook Lives. We got them scheduled every single week. So if you can make it available on, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. And if I'm flying or traveling or doing something, we'll have another trainer come in and guest speak, or I'll just record it ahead of time. We're planning on these every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Wednesday at 1 p.m. And those of you who are master practitioners, I'm going to jump over to our Master Practitioner alumni page because I have a really cool announcement for all of you. All right? Thank you so much for your time. Aloha, ahui ho. Class dismissed. Love you all.